I am the Hooded Lit and welcome to my channel. I'm kind of going nuts on the foundations because for me, if the skin is right, almost nothing else matters. It's just so much to me. And I've already tested a bunch of foundations. I already bought the Fenty and I still am considering the Pat McGrath. But I was very, very excited about the Balm from Kevyn Aucoin, and they made me a sample. And it's a pretty good sample. I don't have the applicator, of course, but I am familiar with this kind of format, and I have found that I've been successful using that with my fingers, and that's what we're going to do here. I'm in color 4.5, and let's just get into it. My skincare is on. I tried a different sunscreen combo today, and I'm not quite as shiny, but it does feel a little drying. And I probably shouldn't have tried something new when I'm trying a new foundation. For me, color is key on having the right foundation. It doesn't matter how pretty it lays on the skin. If the color is off, you're going to look like you're wearing foundation. And that's not the look I'm going for. I want my skin to look like it's just naturally pretty and healthy and free of redness and skin damage. Funnily enough, this is my interpretation of how I felt Pat McGrath was telling you to apply hers, with the fingers and light strokes. So this is this portion of the face, just with the fingers. I'm going to move on to the forehead, and then I see some areas that I want to build in, like right here. But because this color is so close to my skin tone, I'm having a hard time seeing where I want to put more. It's very interesting. All right, first impressions are, because I don't have the shine and the moisturization I usually do, this is going to come out much closer to a matte than anything I've been trying recently. But I feel that it's more like a skin-like finish, but it feels comfortable, and it looks to me so natural. I mean, you don't see it on the pores. The color helps to make it look natural, of course. The coverage is very nice, especially considering I really think I'm using less than the brush would pick up. This side none, this side some. All right, it's about 20 minutes later. I did the other side and I let everything kind of sink in because it started to get hot in here. And I changed my shirts out of my super grimy crew neck wife beater. And let's move on to concealer, see how that works. I'm liking the way the skin looks. I looked in, I think, at like a 13X, and nothing settling into pores. It just looks like skin. Now this is a teeny bit light, so I used two colors. This is the Bendy Avocado. Looks okay. I'm just going to tap with my fingers. Good enough. Now I'm going to go in with the liquid blush, the NARS Orgasm, just to see if it picks up any of that foundation. Just kind of a test I started doing with these foundations, because there are certain gel or cream or liquid blushes that totally pick everything up. Now Yeah, I think everything's fine. Nothing's been lifted with that. It feels really comfortable on the skin. It doesn't actually feel like anything. It's really pretty. I'm liking it a lot. And I might get this instead of the Pat McGrath. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, and then we'll come back in for tests. It's going to be very hot today, so I'm not sure if this will be a fair test. We'll be checking back later to see what's going on. All right, I have been wearing this. It's 10:30 now, so I've been wearing this for an hour and a half. I'm sweating the teeniest bit. I did not powder this foundation. I just didn't feel like it needed it. I'm getting a beautiful finish out of it. Keep in mind, my starting point was a teeny bit shiny, but not my usual shiny. If I were to use my usual stuff, I might need powder, but I didn't need powder today, and my starting point was probably closer to most people on an average daily basis. And yeah, my bronzer went on fine. The blush test you saw, no powder. I think it looks so pretty on the skin. I'm not 100% sure about the color. It is leaning a little pink. The color is the teeniest bit pinkish, but I'd rather pink than yellow, I think. I don't know if you can see, but I am glowing here. No highlighter, no primer. You saw me put it on. Really, really pretty. I think it looks wonderful. I'm going to pull in a little bit so you can see better, but hopefully you can see that I think this just lies so nicely on the skin. I don't have polka dot pores. It's not settling into lines. I mean, it shouldn't after an hour and a half, but the Pat McGrath kind of did. So, yeah, I'm going to go run some errands. It is going to be very hot today. I'm not sure this is a fair test, but it's the test that this foundation is getting. So far, really, 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 really like it. And I'll be back soon. Alright, it's me. I did do a final test yesterday, but the light was just so poor. I looked absolutely blue. There was nothing coming into this room, and I used my ring light, and my ring light's adjustable. I'm still having a time with it. So I put this on about 8:30. It's about 10:30 now. It's been on for a couple of hours. I started from a different base today. So yesterday I mixed together very emollient sunscreen with a drying sunscreen, half and half. Today I used my regular emollient sunscreen, and I mixed it in with another sunscreen that I would normally mix it in with. And I suspect it's from Korea, so I can't read the ingredients, but I have a feeling there might be a little dimethicone in it. So when I put on this makeup, my face was so shiny, I looked like a light bulb. And I felt the need to powder it. It was very, very shiny, and it seems like it's getting shiny again, on my forehead especially. Alright, it's 3 o'clock, I'm back. The light is changing so much now. We are at that time of year where there's really some strong changes and movement in the light positioning, so usually I'm getting more light this time of day. I thought I'd try it earlier. I haven't done anything except for move the foundation around the nose for the glasses rub off. And otherwise, I think my under eyes are a hot mess. That's the Charlotte Tilbury product. But I'm going to keep on trying with it. But I think the skin looks really, really nice. I'm going to zoom in. Hopefully you can get a little bit of a look here. This is as close as I can go. Hi, boo-boo. Forehead. Welcome to day 402 of wearing this foundation. I wanted to do late day check-ins with you on several occasions, but I'm just having lighting issues, and they weren't looking very good and they weren't helpful. So I'm just going to let you know my conclusions at the end of the day every time that I wore this, and that is, it held up well. I got a solid 10-hour wear every time I wore this, and 12 hours was also pretty easy. This foundation doesn't really break up in the traditional way, but it did around 12 hours start to, I don't know, just didn't quite look the same. But on the main, I think 10 to 12 hours easy. I also had a couple of different starting points, and the foundation wore just as well whether I wore a very emollient sunscreen or whether I wore a sunscreen that was more mattifying. And it wore just as well with powder as it did without. It didn't settle into lines, it didn't settle into my pores. It gives a very smooth skin appearance. Towards the end of the day, if you were to look into a 13x mirror, you will see a little settling, but I found it was easily controllable at just dotting with your fingertips in areas where you might be settling. No problem at all. As far as application goes, you saw me apply from my little sample with my fingers. It worked absolutely beautiful. Use a light touch and go a little slowly. This isn't something you just smear on like a liquid and just rub all over your face and call it a day. You will have to work it in when you use your fingers, but the application is beautiful. If you find that you've gone a little heavy, this is a perfect foundation to just warm up your hands and press, and it'll just melt all in and take off that extra layer. This foundation does come with a brush. Of course, I'm working from a sample, so I don't have access to the brush. The brush, I'm sure, was created to work in conjunction with this foundation perfectly, but I have a couple of different other applications I want to tell you about. I tried it with the kabuki. I didn't like it with the kabuki. It just, I don't know, it just moved everything instead of worked everything in, and I'm not a huge fan of a kabuki anyway. I also used it with the stippling. I like the stippling for many foundations, but for this one, I didn't love it so much. It did leave kind of streaks. And I used it with the Sephora 94. This is ideal, especially for the sample. I would just dip it in, kind of dot it and work it. So I would dot, and then kind of work it in and then swirl it around. This is a perfect brush. If you find that the brush that comes with the foundation doesn't work for you, this is one to consider. Absolutely not a beauty blender application in my opinion. Also worth mentioning that this works beautifully in hot weather. I am a sweater, and you probably noticed that if you've seen some of my videos, and I didn't have any problem with this. This isn't a foundation that moves around. You know how some foundations you put them on, you think, oh, this could be a problem in a couple of hours. It's not a mover. It just stays where you put it, which is great. And I also found that it didn't transfer. You know, sometimes you might touch your face and look in your hand and, oh, there it is, and you look on your face and there's an empty mark where the foundation used to be. I had that problem with the Pat McGrath a couple of times. I don't get that with this. So all in all, I think it kind of checks every single box except for the box of the color range. But this foundation checks so many boxes for me. I just have to recommend that you seek out a sample or go to a countertop that sells the Kevyn Aucoin and see if there's a color that works for you. I really enjoy this one. I know there's a lot of foundations out right now, and a lot of people are doing foundation reviews. I happen to love them because I'm always looking for the foundation that's just gonna do it for me. This one kind of does it for me. And that's why we're here, you know, to see how it looks on people's skin, to see what their application experience is. And my application experience is different than many reviews that I've seen. It seems that a lot of people are just putting on too much. This isn't stage makeup. It's makeup for the real life, and you just use a little bit. I just dab this in. There's hardly any on it, and you would think this isn't even going to cover my nose, but it does. A little goes a long way. There is some finessing with the application if it's something you're not used to. I've used cream products before, so for me, there was no adapting at all. I got it. I understood how to work it. And fingers work good, and this works good. So that's it. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you come back again. And until then, I'm wishing you a great day.